曾经是法国作家斯汤达的小说名著《红与黑》，现在却是这些美国总统奖获得者来到 SmallTalk 面临的全新挑战。他们要策划一档以红与黑为主题的脱口秀。红色象征什么？黑色又代表什么？没有任何提示，也没有更多限制。这些对电视毫无经验的总统奖获得者们，究竟会折腾出怎样的一台电视大戏？就让我们拭目以待。敬请收看本期 SmallTalk 红与黑。
Hello, everybody, and welcome to SmallTalk. I'm your host, Keith Gallinelli, Gaishan Ding. Today we have some presidential scholars. These are really, really smart high school kids from the United States of America, and they have all won the Presidential Scholarship Award. They're traveling right now in China. They're going to Shanghai and Wuxi and to Nanjing. And what we decided to do was have them create their own TV shows. So what we did was we gave them two words, red and black, and no other instructions. So they had to come up with their own ideas for the TV show. All right, so let's welcome our first team. The first team is Team Red.
Let's go, Team Red.
Team Red, come on down. All right, why don't you all just walk on down to your seats? Yeah, you'll actually come right over to the corner. This is my team captain from Team Red. Did you know you're the captain?
I found out today that I was.
Okay. When they first told you red, what'd you guys think?
Well, we weren't really sure what we were supposed to do. And at first it sounded like maybe we were supposed to do a variety show and like act like red things. We weren't, like, none of us are really good at like acting or anything like that. So we kind of thought about like the sun being red and that being daytime, and then relating that to what we do in the daytime, which is we go to school and then we have extracurricular activities. And so just talking about like what we know.
Okay, so your theme is red and you kind of made it a daytime theme.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I'm going to give you guys the stage. So right now, it's up to you. All right? So go enjoy.
Great. All right, well, we thought that we would talk about our school systems and what we do outside of school and just kind of relate that to our Chinese counterparts. And in a lot of ways, the American system is different from the Chinese system, and we just kind of want to share and discuss that. So I think Jesse's going to start out and talk about the American school system in general.
For example, the American system is public schools are required for kids to go unless they can find an excuse to, or they want to go to private school or homeschool. They are required to go to public school, and that's based on where you live. So unlike the Chinese system where you test into the good schools, people go to the schools based on their location. In any given school, there might be kids who are very, very competitive, very into their studies, and some kids who don't care one bit about their studies.
I think Katie is going to share some like basic facts about American schools, what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, unlike our Chinese counterparts, we go to school for a much shorter period of time. We go to school, most people, from about 8 in the morning to 3 o'clock, and I know that your schools often get out much later than that. We're a little different too in that instead of the teachers coming to us, we get up and go to the teachers. And that means we have a little bit more freedom choosing our classes. I know that you probably don't get to pick what classes you want to take. And although we have to take a certain number of science classes, we can pick, oh, I want to take chemistry, or oh, I want to take physics. And the school doesn't tell you which to take. And because we were talking a little bit about public schools, where there are people of different abilities, so there are 3 types of classes in my school. The first is called standard class. It's really easy. You don't have any homework, and but it's very difficult to get into college if you take only this kind of class. Then there's advanced classes, and those are a little bit more difficult. They have quite a bit more homework, and the teachers are better, and the people in your classes care. And then we have something called AP classes, which are classes basically taught on a college level. So it's a little bit of a difference. You can choose not only what classes you take, but also how hard you want your classes to be.
Dean's going to talk about some of the classes that he took as a student and as a recent graduate from high school.
Yeah. And what I've also really seen in our differences within these education systems is that we have a lot more choice in what we choose to do. For example, at school, I really like taking science classes. So I use my free periods to take science classes, or I take orchestra. And you can even take more than the 6 classes that we usually have. Some people take 7 or 8. There are others who want to take classes at home. So what they actually do is something called independent study. And they have a course book at home. They read the book, and they go to school to take a test. I did something called correspondence bowling because I didn't want to take PE. So I went and I bowled like 18 games, and then I took a test and I got my PE credit, so I didn't have to. Bowling is, I don't want to bowl anymore though. So like they give you a lot of choices, and that's something I really like because it really allows you to do what you want.
And Henry's going to talk about school, like the amount of homework we have, or some of the challenges students put for themselves, like going to local colleges to take classes.
One of the cool things you can do, Katie was talking a little bit earlier about advanced placement classes, and she said that they were taught on a college level, and there's a little bit more to that actually. I know in China, high school and college are very, very separate. You finish high school, and then in most cases you take the end of high school test, and then you go to college. But in the United States, the two are very, very much linked together. So the AP classes have a test at the end of the year. You take a very big test called the AP test. It's very stressful. All the American students get worried. But if you do well on the test, there are some colleges that will give you credit for having taken that test. And so some of us here and at some colleges will be able to skip an entire year of college for having taken so many AP classes in high school. And another really cool thing you can do, in some cases, if your high school and your home are near enough to one of the local colleges in your town, you can take courses there if your high school doesn't offer what you want to take. Like for instance, I this year took a college multivariable calculus class because my school did not offer a math that high. And I also took, in the spring, a sociology class because it's a very big interest of mine, and my school had nothing like that. Now, as far as homework, generally, American students get about 2 to 4 hours of homework per night. It all depends upon when in the year it is.
Henry doesn't spend all of his time at school, and so he does have outside interests after he's done with his 4 hours of homework every night. And one thing he likes to do is play the guitar, and so he's going to show us something that he plays. Well, as much as we like our free time, getting into college is a very big deal in the United States as well. And so Brian is going to talk for a little bit about the entire college process, from testing to grades to other parts.
Well, as far as colleges, getting into college go, aside from test scores, there's a lot of other things that colleges look for. They want to see someone who's well-rounded, who's very active in the community, who has concern for other people as well. And part of that comes from like the evidence of what you do in your free time. So for Henry, he plays his guitar. I, for example, play the violin, and for sports, I play tennis and I swim. And then for community service, I volunteer at a nursing home. And that sort of thing is something that shows that the student is concerned with something just beyond studying. In the application, there's sort of the intellectual side of you, and then there's the social aspect, and then they want to see the inner aspect, like the motivational aspect as well. And if you can present all 3 aspects in a way that shows that you're a person who is very, passionate about life, then they're more apt to choose that sort of person over someone who is just dedicated to one thing.
And a lot of students are involved in the arts, and Jesse is currently sketching our host, Keith. And
洪宇飞曾 曾经是法国作家斯汤达的小说名著，红与黑现在却是这些美国总统奖获得者来到 SmallTalk 面临的全新挑战。他们要策划一档以红与黑为主题的脱口秀。红色象征什么？黑色又代表什么？没有任何提示，也没有更多限制。这些对电视毫无经验的总统奖获得者们，究竟会折腾出怎样的一台电视大戏？就让我们拭目以待。敬请收看本期 SmallTalk 红与黑。
All right, now we're ready for Team Black. So Team Black, why don't you come on down?
Stylish music. The next contestant. Bryce is.
Who's the host?
Jason Laskin. I'm here for you.
All right, here you go. Okay, why don't you stand right here? Show the stand right here.
Screw the list.
Okay, you ready to play? All right.
I'm always ready.
Okay, now this is the team leader for Team Black. This is
Jason.
Jason. Welcome to SmallTalk.
Thank you.
Okay, now, when we first told you about this whole activity, they said black is your word. What went through your guys' heads?
Way too many things. We tried to think of black objects, black things, anything black that we could come up with. But I think we finally decided that, and along with our red team counterparts here, that black, we're just going to talk.
I'm stealing the ball from you. So you're never supposed to let somebody rip the ball out of your hands.
Well, I let you.
Okay.
I'm nice like that.
Okay.
But with Team Black, we decided to talk about things we do outside of school. Things we do at night, things we do in the afternoon, things we do in the evening.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to turn it over to you guys now.
All right, thank you.
So you're up.
I guess, being Americans, I guess the first thing on our mind at night is food. So we thought we might talk about dinner and things we do for dinner, how we are with our families, and things that we do early in the evening. So does anybody want to kind of throw out their dinner stories or their stories with their family at night?
I don't know. I don't always eat dinner with my family because we're all really busy. I have dance class a lot. My sister might be, she takes dance as well, and my parents are running around doing different things. But I think we try to eat together at least 2 or 3 times a week, so I don't know.
I live on a college campus, and so from the time I was born, I've spent all of my evenings eating in a cafeteria. And so I eat with 1,000 other people every single night, and it's really interesting because it's like the family, and the family always eats together, but besides that, there are always professors or students coming up and eating with us, and it's just always been a really interesting experience for that.
Yeah, I always think of dinner as a good time to kind of reconnect with my mom and dad and my brother, because we're always running around doing different things. So I guess I have a kind of unique situation because I have a twin brother. So he's always been my best friend growing up, I guess. We've always been really close. I have an older brother too, but having a twin, you always have somebody to talk to and stuff like that.
For me, dinner is always different because my family, my parents divorced when I was very young, so my family has always been separated. So it's very different for me to eat with my family. I mean, it's almost unusual to eat with my family. I know all through I've been here, I've always eaten with someone's family, and I'm not used to that. So I'm one who usually goes out at night, and I'll eat out with friends, or I'll have a quick dinner with my dad or something, but we rarely have a big sit-down dinner with a big family or anything like that. Even for holiday meals, there's usually very few family members we can get together. So, and I think that's interesting because I think we all have a different, although we're all American, we all have a very different way of approaching our families. Yeah. I mean, I know that I'm close to my family, but since they are separate, it's a juggling act all the time. So, I mean, do any of you want to say anything about kind of your family or dealing with them on a regular basis?
I am an only child, and I live in the middle of nowhere. So I'm really close to my family. I, always have just been comfortable either hanging out by myself or hanging out with my parents even.
My parents were really good to me, but at the same time, a lot of times I kind of had to watch out for myself. They're both doctors, and so a lot of times they'd be at work, or even if they were home, they'd have to run off to the hospital at the drop of a hat if someone got sick. At the same time, I had 2 little sisters, one of which required extra attention. A lot of times, I was the one who missed out on stuff because my parents were really busy with lots of other things. So a lot of times, I had to kind of take care of myself. My parents, they still took good care of me.
Well, I'm a little bit of the opposite of that. My father and mother both work, but my dad works out of the house. So during the summer, he would always take care of me and my brother.
And like maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks, he'd take us either hiking or he'd take us to downtown Boston to learn a little bit of something at a museum or some other attraction. So I got to learn a lot academically, but I also got to learn a lot about my father, which is nice, something a lot of Americans don't have a chance to do because one or both parents are always working.
Another important thing for all of us, I mean, we spend, I guess, varying amounts of time with our family, and we've already heard that we spend quite a lot of time at school. Another big thing that I know is very unique to America and for younger people is jobs. Many of us get jobs at a very young age. So do any of you want to talk kind of, outside of school, things maybe you do in the evening like jobs, night jobs or anything like that?
I work at a restaurant, so generally 5 nights a week I'm not eating dinner at home with my family or hanging out with friends. I am at work, and I'm there from 3 in the afternoon until usually around midnight, and that's my life now. My coworkers are my friends, and it's a very good experience, and I'm earning money. It's really helpful because college is expensive.
I have 2 jobs. I have a summer job. I carry golf bags. And during the school year, I umpire Little League baseball games. So it's not as much of a regular job, but my school, I get a lot more homework, I think, than Nicola does, so I don't work as much. And something a lot of us use our money for is college is very expensive. So most of us work not only to get experience in the real world, but also to accumulate money so that we can go to college. So other people have night jobs.
Yeah, I know for me, I do all of my work late at night. I know a lot of people like to go to bed early, but for me, I do my work at midnight or 1 in the morning. I write for a local newspaper. Being from Dallas, Texas, we have a paper called the Dallas Morning News, and I write for them. And for some reason, I always feel more comfortable when it's dark outside, there's nothing else to do, and I write then. And so I also, for a long time, designed internet websites, and I also did all of that work at night. So I think I'm very unusual in that sense that I know many people work at day. I mean, if you work in a restaurant, you have very strange hours, and you do work late at night. But for me, I get to choose when I work, and it's interesting that I always choose to work very late at night before going to sleep. So another thing Nicola mentioned that you were saying, now that you work so much, all of your coworkers have become your friends. Do you guys want to talk about kind of different friends groups or like, how you've made your friends? Or
I don't know, I have a lot of close friends who are just in my grade at school, and I've also been really close to the girls I dance with my whole life because I've known them forever, a lot of them. And we spend a lot of time together. I take class maybe 5 days a week and rehearse all day Sunday for performances. So.
At night, what kind of things do you do with your friends? I mean,
sometimes just really normal things like hang out, watch a movie, go out to eat. My friends also like to have toilet papering wars. Like, I think this is something that only Americans do, and not even all of them. But I don't know. We like to take toilet paper that you'd use in the bathroom, and we throw it over the trees at each other's houses, and make a big mess. And the next morning, you wake up and there's white toilet paper hanging all over it.
My friends kind of evolved. Like, I hung out with a couple people maybe in 4th grade, and through the years, more and more people would start hanging out with us. So a lot of my friends I've been friends with for 10 or 11 years. And one of my friends actually ended up becoming my girlfriend, which her name is Sharon, and we've been dating for like 19 months. I guess kind of different in China. You guys can't tell your parents about all the boyfriends and girlfriends. I'm sure you have. But my parents are really cool with it, and they like her a lot. In fact, sometimes I think they like her more than they like me. They buy her presents a lot. And at night, we go out to dinner sometimes, or it's a very common American thing to take your boyfriend or girlfriend to the movies, or maybe just rent a movie and hang out at home with them.
This trip for us has been very interesting in experiencing Chinese nightlife, and I would like to thank all of our hosts for putting up with us, because we like to stay out very late, and I think sometimes they're too tired to tell us, but they really come out with us, and I think we've really found a lot of similarities. I mean, we've played pool, we've gone bowling, we've done a lot of things that we too do in America, so after all, we're not all that different.
And hanging out like that gives us a chance to, I don't know, really experience like real life, Because school is important, but it's not everything, and I don't know, really get to know people.
So hopefully we've told you something about kind of the way we live at night. You know, we are night owls. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I want to thank everybody from Team Black. Guys, you did a very nice job. And also Team Red, we learned a little bit about what an American student will do during the day, a little bit about American students, what they do at nighttime. So that is our show for Small Talk today. Thank you very much. We'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye. You guys?
All right.
The GM's coming up talking.
Free talk. Can we sit up here?
I don't know.